Hello, my sewing friends. Welcome back. My name is Annette, and I'm sewing in Michigan. I'm here today to reveal my make for Sew Frugal 2025, to talk about the pattern and fabrics I used, and to give you a review of the pattern because I did have some challenges with it. If you choose to use it too, maybe it'll be helpful to be aware of these issues. I chose to make the Onil blouse by Pauline Alice Patterns, which is a free downloadable pattern, and you can see some parts of it here. Now, if you look at the drawing on the left, the peach colored representation of the top, it looks like it would be a hip length top, or at least like it would come below the waist a little bit, right? And if you look at the models, you can see that it appears to hit them just below waist length, kind of high hip length. So when I cut out the pattern originally, I added 2 inches to the length of the bodice because I didn't want a short or cropped look. I wanted a hip length top. Now, I would say that the drawing on the left and even the garments on the models did not represent for me the true length of this garment. If you look at the center picture with the line drawings of the construction of the garment, look at that bodice in the upper right corner there. Look at where the darts are and where the hem of the top falls. The hem of the top falls, according to that drawing, just a few inches below the bust darts, doesn't it? So there's kind of a discrepancy between the pictures here. When you look at the drawing on the far left and the drawing in the center picture, the length of the tops looks quite different. And then the length of the tops on the models looks different yet again. It looks maybe somewhere in between. So at any rate, I thought when I cut this out, I'm going to add 2 inches to the length. Now, I'm 5'7", which is not gigantically tall, but I do tend to add a little bit of length to tops, especially if they are in the shorter or cropped range. So let's take a further look at the pattern and see how this worked out. When I printed out the pattern and stuck it together, I was pretty pleased with it because it did go together pretty easily. The pages were numbered quite clearly and all of the lines matched up. So putting it together in that way wasn't a problem. Now, when I went to cut it out, that was where my first challenge happened. And maybe some of you who use PDF patterns are used to this kind of issue. But for me, it was a little bit difficult. And that was that your size was indicated by a line on the pattern, and it could be a dashed line, a dotted line, a solid line. You can see all the lines going on here, right? Look at how many there are. And you had to find the line that corresponded to your size and then cut it out at that line. So what I did, as you can see on the right here, I took an orange highlighter and I marked my line, which was this solid line that was 3 or 4 sizes out from the largest, just so I could keep it all straight as I was cutting, because the number of lines here, especially as you see on the left there, it was confusing and they were very close together. But I cut out my size and then I decided I wanted to lengthen the bodice by 2 inches. So I did cut the bottom hem 2 inches longer. And here are my cutout pattern pieces. I showed this fabric in the video where I talked about my Sew Frugal 2025 plans. This is a fabric I had in my stash. It has a white background with purple and red berries on it, very pretty. And you can see all the pattern pieces here. So this is one of those patterns that basically has a front, a back, and a sleeve. And then there were a couple of neck facing pieces. So very easy to put together. If you understand how to put together a top like this that just has a front, a back, and a sleeve, you don't really need a whole lot from the directions. I mean, you read the directions through, but then you can kind of proceed with operations. Basically, it has you do the bust darts on the front first, then you attach the front and back at the shoulder seams, you do the neck facing, you do the side seams, the hem, and the sleeves. And it's a puff sleeve with an elastic casing around the bottom. And then you insert the sleeves. So it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward construction. When I got the bodice front and back sewn together, I decided to try it on just to see how things were looking. And this was my first problem or issue. Okay, now keep in mind, I lengthened this by 2 inches. This is hitting me pretty much right at my waistline, a tiny bit below my waistline, and I do not wear my tops this short. Think about if this was even 2 inches shorter. It would be what we used to call a belly blouse when I was a kid. Okay, and I'm not a teenager anymore. I don't wear things at this length. So that was my first consternation about the pattern. And I thought, well, do I want to add some kind of a panel to the bottom, or do I want to add a ruffle or a peplum? I really didn't want to. I'm not wild about peplum blouses on me, so I was kind of disconcerted about what to do. Also, I discovered that the arm's eye was kind of tight. Not uncomfortably tight, but it was small. And I don't have particularly large arms. I have arms that are of a size that's proportionate to the rest of me, I feel. And the arm's eye was too tight. So that led me to wonder, well, did I cut the wrong line around the armhole? So I went back to the pattern, and honestly, I could not figure out whether I had cut the wrong line. This is how busy, I don't know if you can see my orange markings there, but this is how busy the top of the arm and the armhole area are. So you see I have a couple different lines going there. I couldn't quite figure that out. So I decided, well, do I just enlarge the arm's eye a little bit and hope the sleeve will fit and maybe add a ruffle to the bottom or something? Or do I stop at this point, call it a toile, and remake it in a different fabric from my stash so I can still enter it in the competition or enter it in So Frugal, but I can make it in a way that appeals to me. So I went back and forth about that for a while. I slept on it. I thought about it for a day or two. I thought, I don't want to waste the material, but what could I do? I came to a different conclusion. This is going to become the bodice of a dress. I am going to shorten it now by a few inches and add a gathered skirt onto it. I have enough fabric to do that, and I think it would make a cute summer dress. And that way I won't have wasted the time and effort. The sleeves are on it now. They look cute. So I think I'm going to proceed with that idea. But I did then cut out and make another Onil blouse for my So Frugal entry. Now what I did before I cut out the second blouse is I traced the pattern pieces onto other paper. I have a big roll of white paper. It's called banner paper. I got it at a teacher supply store. I traced the pattern pieces out onto that and made my adjustments there so that the armhole was a little bigger. The sleeve I widened a little bit so it would fit well into the armhole. And the other thing I did was I lengthened the original pattern by 6 inches. Now 6 inches sounds like a lot, but you're going to see where it landed on me after the 6-inch lengthening, and it's still not all that long. Okay, But after I retraced the pattern, I cut it out and went ahead with another piece of stash fabric that I had. And this is the result. I'm wearing it now, and you can see it on the left on the hanger and on the right on my body. I love it. I think it's very pretty. I like the way it hangs. Now the bust darts are a tad high on this blouse, but it leads it to fall straight from the bust down to the hem, as you can see in the picture on the right. So I think it has a very pretty silhouette. Now, puff sleeves are not usually my thing, but I think the puff sleeves look really cute too. So I'm pleased with what I did here. Will I make it again? Yes, I think I will. Now that I've made these tweaks to the pattern, um, I would make it again in my tweaked version because it's comfortable, it fits well, it feels nice. Wore to church today, got a lot of compliments on it. I think the fabric is beautiful, so I'm pleased I found something to use this particular piece of fabric for as well. So, do I recommend the Onil blouse, the Pauline Alice Onil blouse, this downloadable free pattern? Yes, but with some caveats. I do recommend it, but I would say be careful of the length. Be aware that it is quite cropped, more so than it looks in the picture, and you might want to add some length to it, depending on what kind of a silhouette you're going for. Be aware that the bust darts are on the high side. They're just a hair above my true bust instead of on my bust. That's what makes the front of the top hang nicely the way it does. But just be aware that those bust darts are high. Also be aware that that arm's eye was a little bit tight on me, but it's possible I cut the wrong armhole. Okay, so just be aware of that. I would say after you sew the front and back together, try the bodice on and see if you need to make any adjustments there. So, overall, hey, free pattern, it's fine in that respect. I do like it. I am glad I made the changes that I did, and it's worth a try. It's worth a try for a free pattern and for a cute summer top, and I will make more of these. So that is my Sew Frugal 2025 entry. I would love to see yours. So if you have a video or picture you could link to, I would love to have that down in the comments. Also, I am on Instagram, so if you could share your pictures there, I'd love to see them. I hope you've had fun with this challenge. I certainly have, although I had some frustrations too. And coming up in April is the Sew April Blouse competition. So I'm hoping that a lot of you will take part in that as well. I'm still trying to find the right blouse pattern situation. Actually, I have a couple that are cut out that I never sewed up. So maybe it might be time to tackle one of those as well. I wish you a wonderful week. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.